We finally made it. You're listening to KCEQ 100.5 FM in Lafayette, California, and this is our grand opening. KCEQ has been developing for over 6 years. It started at Del Valle High School in 1976 and came close to being a reality. Unfortunately, the school was closed down in 1979, and the project was temporarily halted. To represent this chapter of KCEQ, then called KNTA, we're going to play a song appropriate to that time. Here's Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner.
KCEQ Lafayette. The KCEQ project then moved to Acalanes High School in 1981. The Federal Communications Commission finally granted our station its construction permit, and we started transmitting on an old storage radio room in our present station. On November 15th, KCEQ went on the air for the first time, ending another chapter in the station's story. A popular song representing this time was Lovin' Store by Fleetwood Mac.
There are innumerable people responsible for putting KCEQ on the air. Warm thanks go out to several persons in particular. First of all, we thank Merrill Olson, who is the supervisor of maintenance. He gave us his support and provided supplies, without which we wouldn't be near to where we are today. Also, Bill Burkhart gave a great deal of welcomed help, as did John Arp, Philip Kelly, Fred Meyer, Joan Lozenzo, and Frank Trent. These are the people responsible for helping to put it all together. If you know any of them, give them our thanks.
Of course, it isn't all adults who did the work. Much of the groundwork was done by students, and among the most important are last year's staff. We'd like to recognize Elaine Wang, the Public Relations Manager, Brian Atwood, me, last year's Program Director, Babak Danashrad, who was Treasurer, Mike Parker, who served as Secretary, and Rob Lewis, the illustrious Vice President. However, a very special thank you belongs to Mark Jeffrey, who was Club President for the last 2 years. Besides ordering all the equipment and obtaining the initial funds, Mark donated incredible amounts of time and effort. As a token of our appreciation, we have a KCEQ permit for Mark, dubbing him a life member of the Acalanes radio station.
Going back a number of years, one of the founders of the whole club was Jonathan Heimer. This remarkable individual did all of the paperwork, made initial contacts, researched, and has even followed up after he graduated. Jonathan is now attending UC Davis and unfortunately could not be with us today. Nevertheless, we have a plaque for him recognizing him as an honorable life member. Thanks, Jonathan. Now we have a song called Love is a Rose by Linda Ronstadt. Two organizations contributed money to the club to get this station started and offering continuing support. We would like to thank the Lafayette Arts and Science Foundation and the Acalanes Parents Club. Many administrators have supported KCEQ in the past, but unfortunately we can't mention them all now. Current administrators include Ron Schutz, a supporter from Miramani, Tom Airhorn, our director of student activities, and Dee Silva, vice principal. Orlando Cavini, our principal, who would like to be here, but has a previous engagement. In his place is Miss Silva with a few words.
I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the radio club, their members, Mr. Pleiss. I think this has been a very, very positive contribution to Acalanes, and they should be very proud.
Walter Hale, the Acalanes Union District Superintendent, would also like to be here today, but unfortunately he too has a previous engagement. In his place is Mr. Anthony with a few words.
Yes, I too would like to offer my congratulations to Acalanes and the students who made all of this possible. I think particularly in an age in which teenagers are oftentimes criticized, I wish everyone could see this setup that the kids have made up here. It's truly a remarkable achievement, and again, my congratulations.
Thank you. Along the way to becoming a station, several generous individuals and businesses contributed to the club. Here is a partial list. The Estepane of Lafayette, Lafayette Lamp Co., Dr. and Mrs. Shimizu, Mr. and Mrs. Parker, Mrs. George Temp, Mr. and Mrs. Frederick Long, Mr. and Mrs. Guy D. Atwood, and Butler Connie Dodge. Up next is a little song by the Doobie Brothers called It Keeps You Running.
We here at KCEQ would like to thank all of the teachers who helped us and excused us from classes when we had a deadline to meet. Our parents also deserve a big hand for letting us spend long hours building the station and washing cars. We hope they will be as supportive once we increase our hours.
But most of all, Mr. Wendell Pleiss, our faculty advisor, is the reason for this station's existence. He was always there when our enthusiasm began to flag. For this and all your years of hard work, we thank you, Mr. Pleiss. This day is also special because it is also Mr. Pleiss's birthday. From the staff, happy birthday.
There we go.
The current staff of radio station KCEQ includes Cheryl McDonald as secretary, Julie Den, public relations director, John Williams, treasurer, Kelly Burr, station manager, Brian Atwood, programming director, Tim Wickens, vice president and operations manager, and Rob Lewis, president.
This show was written by Brian Atwood and Tim Wickens. It has been a production of radio station KCEQ. Okay, to finish things up.
Well, now that we're an official station on the air, hey, we're the new kid in town, and people are gonna have to chase after us. Here we are, the Eagles, new kid in town. KCEQ 100.5. Coming up next, Dan Fogelberg.
No,